look at Gen Z and look at young people and say, oh, they don't value connection. I actually think it's a total opposite. I think they need connection and value connection more than any other generation because of the accessibility of being able to talk to someone from anywhere in the world, like how we're communicating right now. I think that there's something lost a little bit in I don't want to say in your soul. That sounds a little bit esoteric, but there's something lost in that connection, and I think being able to meet in real life and not worry about the validation of others.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many great things there. Just to almost work backwards from where you started, it's not wrong necessarily to say soul, even if you're not specifically religious. Like the ancient Greeks had a word which became psyche, but it was originally something more like suke in a way. It was meant to be the sound of breath because it was literally breath, and it was psyche, the breath of life, that what it means to be alive, to be a living thing. And that became psychology, the study of the psyche. And really it's, from way back then, it's like, this is what the breath of life is what they considered the soul. It's what left your body at the final moment. So not at all at odds to have that allusion to a religious thing, a soul, when really we're talking about, the experience of being alive and experiencing whatever that is that we are, that has that element, the psyche, the soul. Yeah, I think it's all the same thing personally. It's kind of what a wizard does. It in a way is like make these connections of like, it's all the same thing. Whoa, we've all been talking about the same thing for all this time, and this, but there's very important distinctions too, like you were saying. So there's all working backwards. There's a great concern that, say, biologically, evolutionarily, we are not programmed, designed, however you evolved to handle mass social media, that we are very much programmed for face-to-face, small group communication, a relatively limited bubble in a way of core relationships that keep us stable, and that without that we can't handle the other stuff, and the other stuff is no substitute. It's actually worse for us. So a lot of people are putting a lot of deep thought into that, and I think you absolutely hit on that with your book. Of like, these kids were, they had enough to say, this feels important. It feels like this is the right way to do it. This is how we need to do this. So
this is how we need to do this. No, you're absolutely right in everything that you said, and I think you're also right to say that we're not conditioned for it because we never had to deal with it before, ever. So when would we have been conditioned to deal with it? When would we have been conditioned to deal with having to sit down and say to 200,000 followers how you feel today? You know what I mean? Like that's that's a very odd experience. It's an overwhelming experience, and that's why a lot of people, even the ones who are super successful on social media, still have to take time out to take breaks, still suffer from burnout. Still say that at some point they eventually don't love what they do anymore because they feel like they have to keep going and to make this, to keep up with the followers, right? To keep up with the numbers.
Yeah.
To whatever end they have, and those ends might be amazing. Like their goals and their intentions might be amazing, but the process of getting there is something that we have to question. And social media is only 10 years old, right? Like more or less. Like Facebook's older than that, but popular wise, social media is about 10 or so years old, maybe 15 years old. It's super new. That's like we're still dealing with it. We're still figuring out how to deal with it. But I think now we really need to start. I don't want to say putting rules in place, but we should start putting at least some kind of principle in place, without kind of studies in place. It's been out long enough now that we could reinforce back into the way these algorithms run and the way that the social media runs, and then also do that, but then teach kids as they're growing up how to deal with it. How to be on social media, how to not be on it all the time, how to fact check things, how to interact better, how to know when, if someone says something, there is a way to just unfollow these people. Like, like little, I know that sounds very simple, but just like not blocking things out, because you kind of said it right when you started with that. You can't listen to everything on social media. There's one for us. It's literally
impossible. Yeah.
Impossible. So